Coming up on 2-Bit SoCon, we are talking Chattanooga's huge win at Samford to make the tie for first place a two-way split. Western Carolina's big win over ETSU, and the Citadel taking Wofford to overtime. All that and more after a word from our sponsor. 2-Bit SoCon is brought to you by The Ben Burnett Show. Sports, politics, anything else you're looking for. Weekends on Extra 106.3 in Atlanta or wherever else you get your podcasts. Welcome back, everybody, to your regularly scheduled programming of 2-Bit SoCon. I feel like it's been a minute since we sat down and did one of these game coverage ones, but it seems that we have a new champ in the house at the moment. Taylor, riding high right now, man.
Yep.
How you doing?
I'm feeling real good right now. I love this conference so much and everyone in it.
I bet you do. I bet you do.
I've been feeling the love on Twitter tonight.
Dude, you need a hater.
Riding high.
You need
I
a
got no
hater.
haters.
You need a hater.
Yeah, it's you.
Took the lead in 2-Bit SoCon picks.
Yep.
Lakers just got Luka Doncic for no reason.
Kentucky beat Tennessee.
Kentucky beat
riding
Tennessee.
high.
I will gladly be your hater. I'm sick of this.
You'll only make me be better, Matt. I also got this Kobe shirt for free, courtesy of my friend Tate. So a lot of things going for me.
Tate, don't feed into this. But it's an alright night of games here in the Southern Conference. A lot of people got opinions right now after Jay Gold and I made some poor picks this evening.
Yeah, you guys did.
But as Michael Jordan once said, it takes a real man to talk when it's even score or you're behind score. It's easy to talk when you're up. So for everybody that is coming out after games are over and taking a stand for your team when it was crickets before tip-off, I can't respect you. I can't. Because it's not fair that you get to come out after your Western Carolina Catamounts beat an ETSU
I was going
team
to say, who are you talking about?
without what's a top 2 player of the year candidate right now in Jaden Seymour and say things like, it was always the Cats. If I bet against your 7-17 Western Carolina Catamounts, I'd be living on a private island by now. With that being said, Taylor made the pick of the night. Chattanooga over Samford. What went into that pick for you, and what were your thoughts on that one?
Honestly, I mean, because they had won 5 in a row going into this, 8 of the last 9 or something, and Samford was coming off the tough loss Saturday. And the interview we did with Garrison and Jack, where they were just like, man, this team is just having so much fun right now. That just kind of was like, I feel like they're just going to go into this game loose. That's exactly what they did. Man, the amount of points they had breaking that press where they'd pass a couple times, they'd throw it down court, they get an easy dunk or layup, or even just break it and slow it down. Really impressive. You haven't seen many teams do that against the press. And shout out Frank Champion. Had a couple turnovers, but other than that, had a near triple-double. He had some great passes, some great timely buckets. Honor Huff had some tough threes. Bonham had some great buckets. Kiesler had a tough bucket to put him up, I think, 10 with a few minutes left at the end of the shot clock. He was kind of fading away. So everybody again. Oh, Costa 11 points. Can't forget about him. Just everybody kind of stepped up tonight in many ways. And just a great team win for the best team that comes right now, Chattanooga. I was really impressed. And Samford went really cold tonight. They had some good stretches, but anytime they got a run, Chattanooga just had an answer. And for Samford to have this is their second home loss in 2 years, and for it to be a wire-to-wire victory, very impressive. And to put does Chattanooga, are they number one, or is this Western or UNCG have the? I know they're
Still a
tied.
tie.
Okay,
Still a tie.
I wasn't sure if they had a.
So if it ended, the regular season would split. Like they'd be co-champions, and I believe UNCG would have the tiebreaker if it's head
That's
to
what I
head.
thought because they beat them, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
believe so. But still, who are you more confident in at the moment?
Chattanooga for sure.
Me too. Um, One point to you going down who all contributed for Chattanooga tonight. This team now has a share of first place without a top 12 scorer in the league. So their leading scorer is Bash Wheeland at 13.8 points a game. And that's it. Like, nobody else is above him. Like, I think Peterson is leading the conference at 18 points a game right now. So, like we talked about with Garrison and Jack, like, any given night, it could be one guy's night, it could be another guy's night, it could be everybody's night, like it was this evening. And you mentioned breaking the press. I saw an odd, like, cadence that I noticed for Chattanooga. Even on Samford made baskets, they would, like, Chattanooga would, like, delay and, like, wait for the Samford press to get set up.
I noticed
And
that a couple times too.
I don't understand that. Maybe they're just so comfortable now practicing against the press. They'd rather see who's in front of them than have guys flying all around the court, maybe late to the inbound pass or things like that. But it's always Huff inbounding now because I think it's easy for them to get it to a guy. They know the trap is coming in the corner and they get it back to him. But it was to the point that Huff would take the ball out of the basket and pass it to the ref. And one time he hit the ref in the chest because the ref wasn't expecting the ball. And I literally think it's because this versatility in their lineup plays to their strength so much that they would rather just let Samford set up the press. And then they just go 1, 2, 3, and it's a layup on the other end. And, eventually Samford, they didn't back off the press, but they backed off into zone defense. And that made Chattanooga think for a little bit. But when you have a guy like Frank Champion or Bash Wheeland in there in the high post, like, he's just diamond. And, like, Frank Champion was awesome tonight in every aspect. Like, backdoor, like, making the pass on backdoor cuts, getting to the basket. We talked on Saturday about just how on balance he is at all times. Like, he's always playing off of 2 feet, but his fakes and his pivot foot are so good. He's got other guys flying around trying to block his shot or whatever it is, and then he just gets the easiest layups in the world. So he was awesome tonight. The one pass they made down the stretch, or he made down the stretch, where the shot clock was ticking down, Samford played like 28 seconds of good defense, and he just threw a perfect ball over the
Oh my
top
gosh, that was
to
crazy.
Kiesler, who
Yeah,
got fouled, and I was like,
yeah.
that's
Because
one
that
of
was
the
like 1 second of the shot
best,
clock.
that is one of the best passes I've seen from, like, a big at that spot. And then for Samford, just not their night offensively at all. Brownell goes 3 for 11. Rylan Jones 5 for 11. Colin Holloway 1 for 4. Isaiah West 0 for 3. When I knew it wasn't their night was when Holloway drove late in the second half there and missed the dunk, and I was like,
Yeah, he
man,
jumped a little early on that one. I can
just
tell you.
not, because
Big time error.
he flushed the same one early in the
Yeah,
game, and then that one went up, and I was like, no. And I feel like Samford had so many open looks down in the paint, and Chattanooga, it just goes to their versatility. Their hands are so active down low. When those Samford bigs catch the ball low or bring it back down low, it's getting stripped every time. And so Chattanooga was giving up plenty of offensive rebounds, especially in that second
yeah.
half when Samford's chucking threes and their long rebounds. And Chattanooga just kept getting their hands active and slapping the ball away, and then eventually they would end up with it and getting the stop, and then they'd go down and get an easy bucket. So, I mean, this team really, really is playing so well together. One more thing, the Trey Bonham layup package has developed into insane levels. Like,
Spin he can put on that ball is ridiculous.
it's wild. You must have
Uh,
watched Kyrie Irving a lot this summer
yeah.
or something, but um, they've just been awesome. Really starting to find their stride. Kind of feels similar to last year when, they're just hitting their stride at the right time.
Hmm.
5 games left in league play, which is really where you want to be ramping up here for Asheville. And if they can get first place and probably play what would be Western or the Citadel, I believe, not a bad spot to be in.
No.
So, I mean, we will see how these last 5 games for everybody play out.
I think the
But,
Catamount fans would disagree after tonight, but
okay. Anyway, yeah, really good stuff from Chattanooga. Those guys are playing great basketball right now. Since you brought them up, we can talk about the Catamounts. We can go straight to Western Carolina and ETSU tonight.
man,
Your thoughts on that one?
classic tale of two halves. Because ETSU, how much they were up? Not big at halftime, but it was
I believe they
7.
were
And
up
I was like,
slightly.
yeah.
Hmm.
But even then, I was like, I'm sure they'll pull away. But man, ETSU went cold, and oh my God, Marcus Kell, 18 and 17. It felt like every ball that went up the air, he just
Dude,
pulled down.
he's developed into
Ridiculous.
an
Yeah.
awesome player. An awesome player.
They don't win the game without him. But Pelote had some good plays. Collins had some points in the second half. Emery with an efficient 13, 3, and 4 off the bench. And man, ETSU just reminded me last year they just started taking some desperation shots and they could not hit him. Peterson was the leader, but 8 for 23 tonight. He did get some buckets down the stretch, but it was just a 76-67 loss for ETSU. Just feel like it's just like the most ETSU loss ever.
Mm-hmm.
Just scoring the 60s but holding them under 80. But yeah, what a gutsy win by Western Carolina, regardless for them. And man, 18 and 17 is crazy stat line for
Yeah, I
Marcus Kell.
mean, I have nothing against the team. I really like the team, actually, and the pieces they have. Big Bernard Pelote fan over here. But if you're going to talk before the game. Have some confidence.
I agree with you on that.
Back your team up before. Yeah, man. Marcus Kell has developed into a really, really awesome player. I think he's just a sophomore. So at
Yeah, I was gonna ask how much he had left, but
whatever
he's
he
only a sophomore.
is, I think he redshirted last year. So I think he's a redshirt sophomore. What is he? 6'9", 6'10". Great touch. Great timing, and when it comes to blocking shots, can stretch the floor, dribble, penetrate into the paint. He can really do it all. So shout out to Tim Kraft and the staff for really developing him. But for ETSU, it's hard to overstate how big of a loss that not having Jaden Seymour was
Yeah,
in this game because of what he can do on both ends of the floor. He's been really, really good offensively all season, but he's been even better defensively in guarding guys like Marcus Kell, guys like Bernard Pelote, excuse me. Like, it felt like Karan Boyd was out there playing 5-on-1 defense. Like, there was just, and it's not a knock on those other guys. He just didn't have that other 6'8" long athletic wing that could help him out defensively. And so he did a decent job on Pelote for as long as he could, just making things difficult. And then Marcus Kell gets going, and then they just start rolling, and it's hard to stop. But offensively for ETSU, nothing was going inside. And it's like you mentioned, they just start heaving stuff from outside, hoping to get hot enough to get back into the game. And it just didn't work. So, I mean, when Seymour's out there, you can get him a touch on the block, and he's a reliable scorer in there, but he also forces help, which swings the ball somewhere else, and then the offense gets moving, and you get a good three instead of some of the threes they threw up tonight. And then on top of that, losing the size and the skill of Seymour, you get nothing out of any of the other big guys on the floor. You get nothing out of Roosevelt Wheeler. You get nothing out of Bradford. You get nothing out of DJ Hughes. So the only option is to go 5 guards, which worked for a little bit when it, like, in terms of pressing, and I think the ETSU presses as well as anybody in the league, but there's no size to it. Like, Karan Boyd is decently big and athletic, but he was the biggest guy on the floor. And so even when they did force turnovers, it didn't lead to a good shot.
Yeah.
And they weren't able to capitalize on those turnovers to get back into the game and cut the deficit down. And then, Peterson is doing what he can, really. But when you're able to, especially in the first half when one of those bigs was still on the floor, when you're able to send a double basically off of Karan Boyd to Peterson, and then there's only 2 other shooting threats on the floor in Mekhi Johnson or John Buggs, it's going to be hard for Peterson to get going in any stretch of the turn. So, I mean, just not a good situation to be in if you're ETSU. I mean, I thought Brooks Savage did his best with what he had, but when you lose a guy like Seymour, who is probably going to be first team all SoCon, you're probably in for a tough night. And I wish I had known that he wasn't going to play.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that either. That made me feel better when I saw. I was like, oh.
Well, it wasn't your best bet.
Yeah, true. That was.
I need a little intel. But yeah, that kind of sucked. But from my understanding, he made the trip, which means it was at least a question of whether he would play. So hopefully it's not that serious for Jaden Seymour. Hope he's back on the court soon because the Bucks really need him. I think it would make Saturday against Chattanooga even better to have both teams at full strength, playing the way that ETSU was before he went down and the way Chattanooga's playing right now.
That'd be
Is setting up for a really, really good rivalry game too. But yeah, I think that would just be best for the league. Anything else on that one?
No, just they had Seymour. Could have been a different game, but they didn't. But still, props to West Carolina for the gutsy win.
Yeah. So
But
it was a
wish
good
they
win.
talked before.
Yeah. Well, they don't owe you
point.
any. They don't owe you any intel. And despite those two, maybe the shocker of the night, the Citadel getting to overtime with Wofford. What did you think of that one?
Oh, I feel so bad for the Citadel. I thought they deserved to win that one. And when who hit the three? I think it was Christian Moore who hit that three to go at 4 with like a minute left. I was like, oh, that's a dagger. And I was like, oh, look at the fans. They're going crazy. But then you had did Tripp made 4 free throws in a row to cut it to overtime. And those last two.
I believe so.
And then before that, in honor of you, Matt, they missed a free throw to give Wofford a chance. And then overtime, they did just enough. I just could not believe that Wofford pulled that out. And got to give a shout out to Kyler Filowich, 4 of 6 from the free throw line.
There it is. Yes.
It's not bad.
Rick Barry style.
Yeah. Brody Fox had a great 20-point efficient game, 8 of 12 from the field. Christian Moore was 3 of 13 from 3, but had some timely buckets, 19 points, and just, man, this felt like the one that the Citadel could have had and they let it slip. But also props to Wofford for making timely free throws down the stretch and timely plays. But, man, it's a great game. Disappointing for the Citadel, but I was very surprised. And I believe this was Jack's best bet. He had Wofford 12.5 or something.
Were you just pointing out our failures now?
No, it just popped in my head. He didn't show up, so I'm allowed to call him out.
He can't defend himself.
Whoa.
Yeah. shout out to Kyler Filowich, man. 4 of 6 from the free throw line. Just enough to get it done. They won by 3, so if he missed all those, they lose.
They would have lost, yeah.
So I mean, it's all on Filowich. Looking at the box score, it's hard to see how the Citadel was in this game because Filowich is 6 of 13, Tripp 7 of 16, and Civils is 8 of 12. So like, unless Wofford just shot horribly, like the Citadel didn't do anything special to be in this game. I guess you could point to the fact that Wofford shot 21% from 3 and lost the turnover battle, but I mean, I don't understand.
He even shot a lot more free throws, it seemed like. I'm not sure the total numbers on that.
I still stand by my Wofford's like sitting in traffic metaphor. Like you can't point to one specific thing and be like, this is why they're not the contenders that we thought they were. But they just,
Especially me.
I don't know.
I had them number 1. So that's still something I got to live with.
That should count against you in
That's
the
all right.
picks.
They're still 8 and 5. What are they top? That's got to be what, 5th now or something. So
This was the first game in probably all of conference play, and you know I'm still this guy's biggest fan, that I was super impressed with Brody Fox. 8 of 12, he played 39 minutes for 20 points and 3 assists, but he wasn't, it felt like a lot of times he started to force it, especially in driving to the rim and, you know, just with the intention of shooting the ball and not the intention of taking what the defense is going to give him. Tonight it felt like he just made good decision after good decision, despite the 3 turnovers. But he went in with the idea that he was going to do what was best for that certain situation, not just, I'm going to run at this guy and dunk on him. And maybe part of that is it's hard to just dunk on Kyler Filowich without landing flat on your back. But yeah, the Citadel just didn't make enough plays down the stretch. And like you mentioned, Cam Glover at the free throw line with a chance to basically seal it. And he misses the front end of a 1-on-1. Gives the ball back to Wofford, and Corey Tripp makes 2 to tie the game. And then, in overtime, the Citadel ends up down 3, and we come down at the buzzer
I forgot to mention that.
and take a 2.
Yeah.
What? What was that? We have to make better decisions. You have to at least give yourself a chance.
That was ridiculous.
I audibly gasped when I saw his foot step inside the 3-point line. I was
Who
like,
shot it? Was it
no.
Davidson?
It was Paxton Davidson.
Yeah.
Shout out Paxton. I don't know what he was thinking, but at least they're working on the free throws, and it's
Yeah.
starting to come together for him.
They were 5 of 8 tonight as a team. That's not horrible.
Also, how do you only shoot 8 free throws?
I
Were
don't understand that
just
either.
staying outside, just chucking threes? How many did they shoot? 25 threes. They shot less threes than Wofford, and still shot less free throws.
Interesting.
Not a good look.
You're right, dude. I don't know how that was close. Looking at the box score here now.
There's nothing that screams Wofford was awful. You know? I don't know. I truly don't. That's why I'll never understand this league, but I love it. Shut up. I love it. In other news this evening in the SoCon, Furman, 24-point win against Mercer. You had this was your best bet.
That was
no?
my best bet. Yep.
What made you so confident in the Paladins?
Just feel like Furman is due for a good win, and at home too after a couple of tough losses lately. And if I remember correctly, Mercer was coming off a tough loss Saturday, and sure enough, the Paladins shot really well, 18 of 36 from three. And shout out Tom House, 26 points off the bench,
He was awesome
averaging five in the
tonight.
year. That was incredible. But
He
yeah,
was awesome.
it's a great shooting night by him and basically the whole team. But yeah, that was just a much needed blowout win for them to get it back
Yeah.
on track.
I need a Furman fan to reach out to me and fill me in on the Tommy Humphreys situation.
But yeah,
Was he hurt? Was he just not in the rotation? I don't know what the deal was, but he came in last Saturday against Chattanooga and had like a tween spin, like reverse layup, and we were all like, "Where has this guy been?" Because he looks like he could be a viable option off the bench, and then he comes tonight and plays 1 minute. So I don't
and a
know.
blowout win. That's weird.
I don't know what the deal is, what the plan is with him. Um, but from the looks of the small sample size, he could certainly contribute. I mean, he played really hard. He defended well. So somebody will have to fill me in on that situation. But yeah, just the kind of night that Furman needed to get back into what they believe they are as a team. Um, Basically, 50% from the floor and 50% from three. Um, and then I didn't think Mercer was awful. I just thought
No,
Furman was really, really
they just
good.
shot the lights out. Yeah,
I thought early Furman did a good job of putting Ahmad Robinson in some tough situations, but he's still a spectacular player. So he did get his, but they didn't let him just get absolutely flaming like we've seen him do before.
hmm
Um, just offensively, it looked like the Furman team that we saw all of non-conference play. So I mean, maybe that will have some kind of sparking effect on them, um, catapult them back into at least getting out of Friday in Asheville, but we'll see. And then UNCG 80-54 win over VMI. I guess it doesn't matter, but I almost made VMI my best bet. It's not to win outright, but to cover.
yeah,
Um,
rough one.
this is UNCG has kind of shifted more to an offensively efficient team, whereas most of the beginning of conference play they were known for defending the three really well, which they still
hmm
do, and just kind of slowing the game down and getting really good shots. But they're starting to play at a faster pace, which I like. And then tonight they combined that with that defense that we saw early in the conference play. Um, it's just interesting that they're still doing this with Kenyon Giles kind of taking a step back.
Yeah,
Um, Probably mostly due to the blowout nature of this game, but just 2 for 3 for 8 points. I mean, he played 22 minutes, but even in the games that he has played, he hasn't been as phenomenal as he was early in the year. Um, Donovan Atwell has become so fun to watch, dude. He's just every time he shoots it, like you just know it's going in, and it's such
yeah.
a quick
Even when it
release.
doesn't, it's like shoot that again. Like
Yeah,
kind of like I'm ready for you to shoot it again. Like he's got
he's
the green
just
light every time.
he's just like a prime Clay Thompson, just catch and shoot. Doesn't seem now that Giles and Polite have been as good as they are. Doesn't seem as worried about you know taking on that role that I talked about all preseason about creating for others and having the ball more often, things like that. He's like, this is my role, catch and shoot, 3-and-D. Um, so sneakily, UNCG is that other team tied for first place with Chattanooga.
Who would have thought at the beginning of the year?
Not us.
Nope.
I'll tell you that. yeah, so shout out to them. They're doing a really good job over there. And that is all the action for tonight. So, as it stands now, Taylor is the leader in the clubhouse
Go.
in both game picks and best bets, which is probably rookie luck, I would say.
I don't know. It could just be the GOAT.
Okay. See, this is why you need a hater. I told you.
Nah.
Um, so now we will do our Saturday game picks. You will not know Jack's until Saturday, but
Happens
you
you
will
don't show up for work.
get to figure out ours here. We'll see if Taylor copied my homework. Noon, UNCG at Furman.
Taking Furman. Did you take Furman?
Did.
Mm.
Unless UNCG defends the three as well as they have in the past, if Furman plays like they did tonight, with their size and physicality that they're capable of, I'm gonna take Furman in this one, which would just keep extending that gap of them staying in the 6th seed. Maybe getting the 5th seed if Wofford keeps messing around.
You never know with them.
So yeah, 2 Furman picks. I'm sure the Furman fans will be happy about that, especially if Jack picks them as well. 2 o'clock, Samford at Wofford. Two teams being a little silly right now.
Give me Wofford.
Not really playing their best basketball at the moment. I'm taking Wofford. Back on the Wofford train.
Yeah. I just haven't liked what I've seen from Samford lately. And I feel like Wofford at home, they just match up well with them. And I feel like the Baileys will bounce back after shooting not so well tonight. And I have a feeling Wofford will win this game. Climb back out to a 9-5 record. Maybe make a little late run in the year.
Such a Wofford believer,
huh? I have to be.
Man, I'm going down on the ship. I'm going with Samford.
Okay.
If this team just burns to the ground and goes out on Saturday in Asheville, I'm going down on the ship with them. I believe in the roster and the tactic. I just think they've hit a little bump in the road here. Not saying that Chattanooga isn't a really good team, because obviously they are, or that ETSU isn't, but this Samford team just feels better than they've played in the last 2 weeks or so. So I'm going down on the Samford ship. 3:30, the Citadel at Western Carolina. Western. Carolina.
I don't think that needs explanation.
Who is guarding Marcus Kell?
No one.
Nobody.
And how, if you're the Citadel mentally, are you coming back after that brutal loss tonight?
Yeah, say Brody Fox. Say Brody Fox is guarding Marcus Kell. Cool. Who's guarding Bernard Pilote? That's going to be a tough matchup. But especially with how Western has played lately, they've looked a lot better. And finally, no, not finally. Excuse me.
Man, we still had 2.
VMI at Mercer. Ooh.
Give me Mercer's going to get back on track. I think Robinson's going to have a takeover game. Again. At home. Dropped a couple in a row. I think they're due. And VMI, after a brutal loss tonight, I think they'll play better. Just think Mercer will come out and win this game. Much as I love VMI,
And you know what?
What?
I'm with you. You. Mercer, 4-game losing streak. They need one bad.
Mm-hmm.
You need one bad. So if VMI loses and Furman wins on Saturday, that would put a 2-game gap between them with 4 games to go. So would almost basically lock Furman into staying out of Friday and stick VMI right back in there where they've been for ever. And last but not least, ETSU at Chattanooga. What's that rivalry called?
The rail. What is it called?
The rail
It's like the battle.
rivalry.
Yeah. I knew it had the rail in it.
The rail rivalry. Unless an ETSU fan tells me that Jaden Seymour got healthy and got the super soldier serum, I'm going with Chattanooga.
Yeah.
This team just looks like a buzzsaw right now, man. I don't know. It may be a while before they lose, but now that I say that, ETSU could come in there and shock some people.
You
But
never know this conference, but I just don't see Chattanooga losing this game Saturday.
I pray that is a good game. Feels like we need one. Feels like we need a classic to really get us going towards Asheville.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wofford and the Citadel was kind of a classic.
I felt like they both wanted to lose that game.
Yeah. On paper, it could have been a classic, but
I want two teams trying to win and playing good basketball in the process. Need a game like that. Remember last year when Samford beat Furman on that Jermaine Marshall full court drive and layup? I need a game like that. I need
haven't really seen
like
those in a while.
I know. I need something like that. Sports Center top 10 type thing. To really
Well, we still have time. Maybe we'll see it.
To get in that mode.
Yeah.
But we will see. That is all we have for you this week on 2-Bit SoCon. We will be back next week with another episode as we just keep getting closer to the SoCon tournament. Mm-hmm. Spotify, YouTube, Apple, wherever you listen to your podcast. Thank you for listening, and we will be back next week.